Yay. Okay, we're good. We're live. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome to today's session. Today we're going to have a conversation with my dear friend Elizabeth, and I'll let her introduce herself to you. But I'm really excited about this because, like I was just saying to her before, let me add everyone.
Ha.
So
Important
that,
thing.
yeah, so that if anybody wants to pop on and they get the notification, because you know how Facebook is, they'll be able to
Hmm.
come on. Hi, Shy. So people are coming on already. So we were talking about how it's not just cycle syncing, it is our nervous system and how our biology plays a role in us manifesting the life that we desire, our goals, our dreams, health, all of the things. So I'm really excited to get into this conversation with you, Elizabeth. And if you guys are watching on the live, hashtag live. So I know that you're here. Hashtag replay if you are coming on later. And if you have any questions for Elizabeth, please drop it in the comments. This is going to be really juicy. So stay tuned. Okay. All right, my love, go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm so excited as you're talking. I'm like, so many things are already dropping in to be like, oh my gosh, I talk about this, talk about that, right? Because this is such a beautiful topic. And for those of you, obviously, that don't know me, probably because I'm new to your group, I'm Elizabeth Plancon. I'm a soul activator, spiritual mentor, and healer. I'm also a manifestation and mindset expert, mentor, and a co-author of a book I wrote called Manifesting with Purpose. It's an international bestseller, thank you. But it's, my jam, like my passion. And so it lights me up to talk about this. But there's so many things like, and manifestation is so popular now in today. It's like a buzzword. It's really gotten noticed. But I feel like there's a big piece that was missing, at least for me, when I even received my training that no one talked about. And like you said, it's the nervous system regulation, but not even the regulation, but the expansion of your capacity to hold more, to hold on to the things you're actually calling in through your nervous system regulation, which I know we're going to get all into today and talk about, but it's so important because if we don't focus on, if we don't pay attention, I should say, to our nervous system, right? When we're manifesting things, when we're calling things in, your body won't know how to handle all these big, beautiful things you're calling in. It won't feel safe with it. And what ends up happening is you end up self-sabotaging yourself and finding ways to get rid of it as quickly as possible because you haven't done the inner work to be able to really hold on to that. And so it's really combining all of it. And now more and more manifestation teachers are realizing this and teaching this. I'm seeing it more and more where
Mhm.
they're all of a sudden now talking about the nervous system as well as manifesting, right? So it's huge.
Yeah, yeah. So that is, oh, juicy. Okay, my first question for you. And if you're here and you're watching today on Friday the 13th, guys, happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
This is a portal in and of itself, this day. Um, my understanding and what resonates with me is that it is a portal of like creation, of bringing the stuff that is in your 5D into your 3D. And this is so crazy that coincidentally, but not really, we're having this conversation on this day.
Yeah.
So, my first thing I want us to get into is you mentioned about manifesting and holding capacity and the nervous system. What are those three things actually mean, and how does one tell the difference and use each of these things?
Yeah. So manifesting, if you are new to manifesting, is really essentially bringing things from your imagination into your physical reality. So the things that you think about that you desire or you want to create, but also it could be things that you don't want, right? But that's just the thing. Manifesting isn't just about bringing things in that you desire. It's really bringing in the things that you were focused on in your mind. So that's like thoughts into things. So it's really important what you are focusing your attention on during the day, throughout the day, the majority of the day. And we always say you manifest what you are, not what you want, which
Hmm.
means you are manifesting the things that you are a vibrational match to. And I could go down a whole rabbit hole with this, but we can want this thing over here. We'll just say money because money is like an easy thing for people to talk about and relate to. But money is a high frequency, a high vibrational thing. But that's just a thing. It's a tool, right? It's a tool. It's not, we put it on a pedestal like it means so much more than it really is, but it still holds a higher frequency. But if you are stuck in this energy of lack and limitation and scarcity, that is a lower vibrational frequency. So you are not an energetic match to the thing that you actually want to call in, right? So the idea is becoming an energetic match to it by raising your energy, your vibration, your frequency. So that's manifestation in a nutshell in 30 seconds, right? Uh, your nervous system, right, which I'm sure Gigi talks about all the time, is how we regulate ourselves, right? The state that we are in, whether in fight or flight or fawn, or, you know, where you can tell how your nervous system is, what state it is based on your breathing, right? If you are someone that is breathing shallow in your chest, you can just tell that you're already in this heightened state, right? But if you are someone that is in a calm and regulated nervous state, your breathing is going to be longer and deeper. Also, how you're able to handle challenges. If you fly off the handle at the littlest challenge that comes your way, or your kid screaming, or temper tantrums, or your partner annoying you, right? You're most likely in an unregulated state. So we want to get you back into regulation. And then capacity is our ability to hold more in our life, whether that be more money, more love, more abundance, more experiences, right? More time, more thing, whatever it is that you are wanting to experience more of. Our energetic capacity is only what like can be so big depending on what we've done with it, right? Our inner worth has a lot to do with it. How much we believe we deserve or can hold on to, but it is really expanding our energetic capacity. And so we do this through, there's multiple ways you can do this. Gigi and I both practice Kundalini yoga and are certified practitioners, and that is kind of how we expand our capacity to hold more and also regulate our nervous systems. And the beautiful thing about Kundalini yoga is what our mentor always says is there's a Kriya for everything, right? So there's a Kriya for calling in more money. There's a Kriya for manifesting specifically whatever you want. There's a Kriya for calling in more love, like regulate, but all of those are going to help regulate your nervous system. So does that answer your question about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so beautifully. Thank you for that. I love it.
Yeah.
So you talked about, and also, yes, there's a Kriya for that. And I talk a lot about detoxing the liver because that's one of the main ways that your body detoxes hormones. And guess what? There's a Kriya for loving up on your liver and supporting your liver. So
Mhm.
if you want one of those, let me know. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, let's talk a little bit about that in terms of our cycles now as women, as cyclical, seasonal beings that we
Yes.
are. How does what you say, because that's something that I don't see being talked about enough, like you said, when
Yeah.
all of these manifestation coaches are chatting up, I really never hear anybody talk about how, like, the different nuances between us as women being cyclical and rhythmic and like a man manifesting or whatever, right? So let's
Yeah.
get into that.
Yeah, and so it's so interesting because my manifestation mentor actually has like a separate kind of mastermind for men because they do manifest differently than women do. Emotions, right, are so different and heightened in different times of our cycle. And so I think that's really huge in paying attention, as I said earlier, your thoughts create things, which essentially is your thought. You have a thought, right? And then you have an emotion from that thought. Your that thought creates an emotion in your body. Your emotion dictates the where you're vibrating at, the level you're vibrating at, right? So if you are angry, frustrated, sad, that dictates where you manifest it. And as many women know, during our cycle, we have a very different array of emotions, and more are some prominent than others during our cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really for me when it comes to manifesting is how can we stay in a state of neutrality rather than giving meaning to these emotions we may be having during our cycles, right? And realizing when you're paying attention to your cycle and you're having an emotion that doesn't feel great, instead of beating yourself up and being like, oh my gosh, I'm ruining all my manifestations, like I'm never gonna be, I'm like, this is awful, I'm doing a bad job, or whatever it is, meaning you give to that emotion
Mm.
because you're worried about how you're gonna call things in, or your thoughts are now going crazy and you're spiraling because you're in, this phase of your cycle. Just look at where you're at and kind of stay in that neutrality form. Okay, this makes perfect sense why I'm feeling this way, because I'm in this stage of my cycle and that's totally fine. And you can allow yourself to feel the emotion. I'm not telling you to not feel the emotion. We don't want to bypass it. We don't want to shove it down. We want to look at why we're having this emotion. And you can thank your body, right? You can thank universe, spirit, God, whatever you want to do. Thank you for showing me this lesson, or why I'm feeling this way, or how I don't want to feel. But I know this emotion, this feeling, this thought is not serving me for my highest good. And I release it now. And like kind of just imagine it drifting off. And then you can go about your day. And the faster you get out of that state you don't want to be in, then you can get back to that state of the emotional resonance you do want to be in. But then again, too, like it's like we have those really high emotions, in our ovulation phase. Like we're like pumped up, we're going, we're feeling good. We're like, oh my God, I'm so beautiful, all the things, right? Easy for us to be in like this roller coaster of emotion, but really it's like we want to get into the state of neutrality, even in the good times, because
Mhm.
we don't want the dips to be so big, right? So
Mm.
even when we're feeling really good, be like, yeah, this feels really good. But again, we don't have to put meaning to it so that our dips are not so big, if that makes sense. So it really does take looking at where you are in your cycle when it comes to manifesting. Also, I'll let you, I have another point, but go ahead.
I love it. You and I, we were working together on this for a little bit, and I was like, man, this is so incredible because your wisdom makes it so easy. Because
Yeah.
you get it so much. Like, I love it. Um, so yeah, about that, I wanted to say about the ovulatory phase, right? That's why I always like stress upon like you want to be energized, but you want to be grounded because no
Mhm.
matter what energy you have, if it's not contained, it'll go crazy, right? We need that masculine, I think like I feel like the emotion itself is the feminine part of
Yeah.
it. The way that we handle it is the masculine structure around it. So being in the phase that you're at, honoring that you're in that phase and not making it mean or making it blow out of proportionate because you're in that phase.
Right.
Understanding that yes, mindset is legit amazing. Mindset is important, but no amount of mindset can override your biology. That's
Hmm.
why food affects the way that we think. That's why it's so important, right? And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but the foods that we feed our children, right? Like things that we put into their body, because sometimes it's not ADHD or it's not hyperactivity, it's the food that it's affecting it, right? Because
Yeah.
the body has a lot to do with how we actually maintain our capacity, right?
Mhm.
So just like that, it's silly to expect that we could mindset ourselves out of a luteal phase or even the ovulatory phase.
Right, right. And even our monthly, right? And this was something I thought of today. So today I was actually teaching a Kundalini class for the sacral, which is our chakra, right, and our womb space, right? Which is like the huge emphasis for our cycle and
Mhm.
fertility and ovulation, all the things. And essentially, it is our sacral for creation. I mean, our chakra for creation, which essentially is what manifestation is creating
Mhm.
what it is we want to create in our lives. So it's like it goes hand in hand, right? Our cycle, our womb space, our ovulation, all of it goes hand in hand with manifestation. So paying attention to it. So like, when we're in that ovulatory space stage, that would be a perfect time to set desires, right? Like, and really figure out what is it that you want and really focus on what you're creating. And then when you're in your monthly, right? Maybe that's a time of resting and just being in this sense of beauty of where you are currently in your life and syncing that up with your manifestation practices as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that we're having this conversation because it's not often that you hear it, right?
Hmm.
I feel like I don't hear
I don't.
us talking enough about our cycle, much less how much of an impact it makes in what we're bringing from the 5D into
Yeah.
our 3D, right?
Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Cool. So, so tell me a little bit more, Elizabeth, about the work that you do and how you, as a business owner who is a woman who is cycling, like, how do you hold all of that?
Yeah, well, since meeting you, I've been really trying to actually pay attention to when I'm introducing things, right? Like when I'm putting things out there in the world as offers or creating new things. And most of the time it works for me. It's been working for me of really just paying attention. And something, you taught me was like, when we're in that phase of creation, that's the time of creating the new ideas and new things and then launching and then resting, right? And really allowing myself as an entrepreneur to rest. That's huge. And that is something that I've had to learn. And it's still a challenge for me. And there are certain times too where I'm like, if I just feel it, like this is the time I'm going to go, and I don't pay attention to my cycle. And it doesn't always go as planned, right? So it's so important. But my work is really focused around activating others in their soul purpose and activating their soul gifts, helping them connect to their highest timeline and kind of elevating them to their next level frequency. And so I do that in different ways, through mentorship, through activations and healings. And like I said, I also do, I'm a Kundalini yoga practitioner. So I have a monthly membership where I teach once a month on Zoom, which I just actually taught today. And then I do activations and healings and mentorship for everyone in that community.
I love that. And if you guys are watching and you haven't, like, you don't follow Elizabeth on Instagram, like, go follow her because her activations, like, if I'm having a rough time or a rough day or my spirits feel heavy, I'm like, Elizabeth, do you have an activation that I could, like, link me, tag me in an activation because they're so powerful. Oh, I got to experience one in person when we went to our retreat. And I
Yeah.
know you got a lot of feedback, but it was truly life shifting. And I
I
love you
love
for that. I love you
you.
for being you.
Oh,
Um,
you.
yeah. Is there anything else? And thank you also for sharing. We're going to maybe you could come back because you're in the group and add your handle or if you have
Yeah.
any like freebies or anywhere that people could like plug in if they just want to like let me get to know her. She seems cool. Let them have the opportunity to do that. But is there anything else that you would like to share before we hop off at all?
Let me think about it for a second, but yeah, I'll share. I have a manifestation bundle, which is kind of like it's an affirmation guide and it's kind of like a manifestation checklist, and then there's also an activation for manifesting in there as well. So I'd love to offer that to you guys. But really, I think it's what comes down to it is what's really coming through for me right now is not putting meaning to every negative emotion you
Mm,
have, right? Like I said
mm,
earlier, I can't stress this enough because it's so often that we just allow ourselves to, and I say allow because we can help it even though we don't feel like we can, to spiral. And I've been there multiple times, especially as a manifestation mentor. I was even harder on myself because I'm like, hold it, like I know what I'm doing right now. And it's
mm.
so frustrating to me because I know better and I'm still doing it anyway. And I can't get out of it. And I just allowed myself to continue to spiral, right? And also with finding something that works for you and regulating your nervous system, whether it be breath work, whether it be yoga or Kundalini yoga or Tai Chi or whatever it is, working out, whatever you need to help regulate your nervous system so that you can hold more and practice something that expands your capacity. Because again, I didn't do that when I first got into manifestation, and I manifested some pretty beautiful things. And my body immediately went back to that place
Mm,
of fear of losing it, right? Because I
mm.
didn't do the work to be able to hold on to this bigger capacity in such a huge amount of time. And it was a rough time. So I would love for you guys, when you start manifesting, to also, it's like both and work on regulating your nervous system and expanding your capacity in some way. Like I said, either through Kundalini yoga or breath work, or, and this is all things that are going to help you be able to, like breath work, for instance. And we use breath work in Kundalini yoga, right? But breath work is literally expanding your ability to hold more air in your lungs, right? That's what it's doing. And it's so it's kind of this, it goes into the
Mhm.
energy too. It's expanding your aura bigger to be able to hold more. That's like the science behind it. So,
Yeah.
okay. That's all I
Yeah.
have for today.
Ah, I love it. Well, when you were just talking about that, it brought up a couple of memories within me because, like you said, and this is why I always go back to cycle alignment, right? Cycle syncing. I swear that this is like the best way ever as women because this is the way, because we are cyclical at the root of it all. And I remember when I would be in like my late luteal menstrual phase, I would think some very highly intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
And I swear I was manifesting some really weird shit in my life, right?
Yeah.
And like it was because I wasn't aware of the pattern and I felt like it was going to be something that this is where I live now, as opposed to,
Yeah.
oh, this is where I'm visiting for the season. I thought I lived there. So I would manifest and I would put so much meaning and so much stories to these thoughts when they came up, right? Instead of allowing them to be. And I remember, as I was healing and getting myself through that, I would say things like, your thoughts are not you. I would try, like, I would literally like
Yeah.
affirm to myself, like, I am not my thoughts. I would go on social media and I would talk about, you're not your thoughts, like, because it was really like, this is just like all the hormones, the energies that are flowing. All of the hormones of our body carry a distinct energy within them, and all of these energy affect the way that we feel. And since it's affecting the way that we feel, it's going to affect the thoughts that we think. And then it's like
Yep.
a cycle, right?
It's a
So
vicious
like
cycle.
it's a vicious cycle. So when you said that, it just reminded me of one, how far I've come, that now I could be in my late luteal phase. I could be in my menstrual phase at the beginning or whatever, and have these thoughts and not cling on to them. Like, okay,
Hmm.
my life is over. I hate my life. Burn it all down.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And dang, there was something else that you said that I was writing notes, but I guess I didn't write that one down. Oh, I forgot. We're gonna have to come back to that. But
Yeah.
yeah, wow. Thank you so much for coming on and having this chat with us. Thank you for sharing all that you have to offer as well. If you guys are interested, make sure you check out Elizabeth on Instagram. She's on Facebook. She's in the group. You guys could go
Yeah.
find her and give her a follow. I hope that you guys found value in today. I know I did. I know I got a lot of little golden nuggets. If you did get even something, an iota of anything from this chat, I want you to go ahead and comment your biggest aha, biggest breakthrough, biggest takeaway, whatever. And then I want you to commit to one action that you're going to take because of this insight or this breakthrough or this aha moment that you had. All right. Hi.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Bye. Love you guys. Have a good
Bye.
time. Oh, let me make sure.